It happened 92 years ago, the worst mob slaying by body count in US history, which has never been equaled ever since. And I'm about to take you to the place where 7 members of a Northside Gang were brutally murdered by their feared rivals, Al Capone and his gang. On the cold morning of February 14th, 1929, a meeting was planned at the SMC Cartage warehouse located at Dickinson Clark in the Lincoln Park area in Chicago. Bugs Moran, who was head of the Northside Gang, organized the meeting with his men to seize 2 truckloads of stolen Canadian whiskey. At around 10:30 a.m., members of the Northside gangs gathered inside a garage waiting for Bugs Moran to appear. And then a Cadillac sedan pulled up in front of the warehouse and 4 men came out. 2 of the men were in police uniform and the other 2 were in suits. With shotguns drawn, the 2 cops went in first and ordered the men to line up against the brick wall. They did, and the cops signaled the other pair to come in as well, and both were brandishing Thompson submachine guns. There was a brief moment of silence, and then a thundering noise of machine gun fire began to fill the warehouse. Blood splurted and screams of agony came out of the doomed men. The gunmen continued spraying bullets at the hapless men until they all fell down to the floor. After they ran out of machine gun bullets, the 2 fake cops administered 2 shotgun blasts to the heads of the 2 of the men, splattering brain matter all over the floor to go with the blood already flooding the room. The mayhem lasted less than 30 seconds. And right here is where the garage used to stand, at 2122 North Clark Street. After the massacre, the 2 men in suits with their arms raised up came out with the 2 pickups following behind them to simulate an arrest. They went back into the Cadillac sedan and sped off. Bugs Moran, the prime target, and a few of his remaining men escaped death because they were late for the meeting. Moran himself saw the 2 police officers enter the garage and quickly hid in a coffee shop to avoid detection. 6 of the men died immediately. A hitman for Moran, Frank Duesenberg, despite having 14 bullets inside him, lived for 3 hours. And when asked who did this to him, he uttered, "No one shot me." The dead included Frank's brother Peter, an enforcer, Warrant Lieutenant James Clark, bookkeeper Adam Hare, a mechanic John May, Albert Weinshank, whose Capone's men thought was Bugs Moran himself and what set off the plan to massacre, and a gangster wannabe Reinhard Schwimmer, who was in the wrong place in the wrong time. The sole survivor of the massacre was John May's dog Highball, whose wild barks alerted passers-by. There is no doubt that Al Capone was the mastermind of this massacre. Bugs Moran and his gang were muscling into Capone's territory, and his gang regularly hijacked Capone's booze and even tried to kill him. Capone feared Moran, and it was decided he and his gang had to go. So Capone enlisted associate Machine Gun Jack McGurn for planning the hit and hiring the gunmen. The identities of the gunmen themselves remain unknown. The weapons used in the massacre were later recovered, and the man who had them, Fred the Killer Burke, was the main suspect. There is speculation that the hitmen themselves were also killed by Capone to ensure no one talked. The massacre outraged the citizens of Chicago and made Capone a scapegoat. His criminal career went downhill, and he eventually went to prison in 1931. The rest of his gangs were later killed or sent to jail. The garage at 2122 North Clark Street was demolished in 1967, and the site is now a parking lot for a nursing home. The bricks of the north wall against which the victims were shot were purchased by Canadian businessmen. For many years they were displayed in various crime-related novelty displays. Many of them were later sold individually, and the remainder are now owned by the Mob Museum in Las Vegas.